So here's something that I find fascinating, actually. Let's preface this by two things. Um, I see many different people. They've cooled down recently, but people were asking for for, for a civil war, for a race war, all that goodness, all that jazz, all that goofiness. I find the propositions to be absolutely absurd. Warfare in particular, I think is a little absurd. And I say this as an individual that, goes to the store and purchases food and has a slew of restaurants of which I can walk to and partake in. I say this as an individual who has access to the internet and to Amazon, of which I can purchase supplements. I can purchase, electronic devices, which I need. I say this as a person, who's able to go to a car dealership and purchase a new vehicle with credit, should I need to. I say this as a person who exists in modern society, interacts with modern society, interacts with people on a regular basis, people that have houses, people who recently purchased houses, people who want to make sure their house is safe, people who want internet access to their house. I mean, all different types of people on a regular basis. I say this as someone that has driven to different states and has existed. I have to say the proposition, the idea that Americans will grab weaponry and try to kill each other in multiple different mass guerrilla warfare battle is not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Why is it not going to happen? People are too comfortable. Let's just be real. The economy is garbage for many different younger people, sure. But married people that have houses and families, you think people with children, you think they're going to participate? No, they're not going to wish to participate. They're not going to encourage. They're not going to ask. These are the cries in the slew of a lot of young men that don't have much to live for, and to be quite frankly, don't have much to do, and also, to be quite frank, don't have a strong grasp of what combat really is. I think about it quite frequently, quite often, rather, might be better to say. That is to say combat. What it would be like to engage and fight someone. What would it be like to take a gun, to take a rifle, and shoot and kill people, to end their existence on this mortal coil. It takes a lot of strength to do that. A lot of strength that a lot of these niggas don't have. These niggas can't wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to run 2 miles, and yet they believe they have the strength of character to engage in guerrilla warfare, battle tactics against suburban neighborhoods. What would that even look like? Like, if you actually play this out logically now, shall we? Let's understand something pretty important as to why there's never going to be a civil war in America, at least as it currently stands. I mean, sure, I think at worst, which I'll get back to, you'll definitely have people trying to hurt other people. You'll definitely have probably a few mass shootings. We definitely will not have an American Civil War, because number one, you have to understand what exactly a war is. What is a war? A war is one side trying to oppose and oppress another side to their will. Most bare bones general definition of a war. Essentially, what a war is one side trying to cut down and whittle the defensive line of another side to a point where they have to concede. Whether it's they don't have the materials to fight anymore, no supplies, they don't have the men to fight anymore, well, these niggas died, or they've lost so much land that there's not much else to contest, and so they capitulate. That's basically what it is, right? It is the highest form of one government, or one position rather, really trying to force another to yield to their demands. And so the other side says, no. And they fight back. That's what it is. So when it comes to, say, like an American Civil War, I have to remember historically, how did that occur? Well, it occurred between a fractured governmental state, right? It occurred between the federal government, the Union, wanting to maintain the northern states, and the secession of the southern states, right? But that was a confederacy. It was still a government. As such, they had an army, same way the Union had an army. And so then they were able to contest each other because those armies were supplied by the workers in the Confederacy and the workers in the Northern Union states. In a modern day American Civil War, what are the sides? White people and black people? No. I mean, just last 2 weeks, the amount of interracial couples I've seen, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I've seen so many interracial couples this last week. Like, I understand, like, N is very small, but just, you know, I imagine, would they start fighting? Of course not, right? Not unless they got divorced, right? Then maybe then they might want to pick a side, you know. But so what are the actual sides in this Civil War II? What are the demands? What's the objective, right? You know, people talk about a race war all the time too, and I think it's the most absurd proposition ever, because I oftentimes think of a concept I've called the Magneto paradox, right? Where ultimately, no matter how extremist you get, you will ultimately always find yourself fighting the very people you swear to protect. That's the Magneto paradox. And I'll probably do an analysis of that a little bit deeper in the future so you guys better understand it. But essentially, if there were to be an American Civil War, it will once again not be a race war. It would be two white people trying to kill each other. And again, I ask, to what end? What's the objective? The objective of the succeeding states was to be able to govern themselves the way of which they desired, which part of it is maintaining slavery, but also part of it is to not be oppressed by the federal government. Fair enough. The Union wanted to maintain, the Union. So their objective was to quell the secession's army in order to reunify all the states back together, as well as maintain the emancipation of the American Negro. Even though that wasn't really their fullest objective at first. I mean, some of the northern states and some of the northerners were abolitionists, and they were like, this is wrong. That's true. But ultimately, Abraham's objective wasn't fully into the emancipation of the slaves. It was something he believed would occur naturally over time anyway. He really wanted to keep the Union, if I understand my history there a little bit more accurately. Regardless, eventually, he capitulated eventually. However, fact remains, there was an objective. What's the objective of America's Civil War II? What's the point? What's to be gained? To be honest with you, it seems to just kill your enemies. The objective is just genocide of one half of a population that believes something against what your other half of the political side believes. It's indiscriminate death and destruction of the people I disagree with politically. Why? Because, as we label them, they're evil and cruel and wicked. It's ironically something of a holy war without the actual terms of good, evil. And most people continue to operate on this framework, and it annoys me greatly. Like, it really annoys the dickens out of me. The extent of which people operate on what they believe is a good versus evil dichotomy dynamic, but they refuse to just accept that they are moralizing and they are talking about morality and they're talking about what they believe is good versus what they believe is evil. We talk about white, we talk about black, we talk about liberal, we talk about conservative, we talk about fascist, we talk about this and we talk about that. But ultimately, the language, and especially the extreme rhetoric of, again, warfare, is oftentimes used because they believe their opposite side is evil, immoral, cruel, wicked. In fact, both sides do believe this. I mean, if you listen to their imagery. You know, I argued against liberals for the last decade or so because I always thought that their characterizations of left-wing and conservative politics was just patently absurd until those niggas became patently absurd. Race baiting, racist, radicalized jackasses who seem to not understand that they're being manipulated and used by political parties in order to get their De Niro. It's quite fascinating, the extent of which dumbasses are being used by powerful players who politicize multiple different things to get you idiots to argue amongst each other, and then get you to pay them money so they can maintain their power, so they continue to incite fear and paranoia into your brain. But because you are but a fool, you do not realize you're being used and played like a damn fiddle. Because realistically, again, none of these idiots really think critically about what would a war look like. Well, first of all, do you really think that if there was a Civil War II, that one, no other nation would be a part of it? That the one nation wouldn't have to supply the other? Think critically. The only way a war can sustain itself is with material. Otherwise, once again, remember the definition, without material, without manpower, without people fighting, one side eventually is going to have to acquiesce to the demands of the other. Now, of course, again, going back to what exactly are those demands? It seems really that there aren't demands. It's just discriminate death. It really is just, it'd be closer more to political genocide than it would really be a war, no matter how you cut that cookie. But anyway, I digress. So it's like you wish to fight your American citizenry. You wish to eradicate and obliterate, the so-called liberals, right? And you think that once all the liberals are gone, after you participate in this holy war, civil war, that the world would be a better place despite all the blood on your hands. I do find it interesting that it's so psychopathically and so cruel that they don't play out the imagery. Or maybe they are playing out the imagery, and again, what you really have are a bunch of psychopaths with access to a keyboard that aren't grasping that the human spirit is not one of which could just kill its people easily and then walk back into polite society as if nothing happened. Have you guys ever had a conversation with an Army veteran before? It would appear you haven't, because those people absolutely do not go into foreign areas, kill the citizens there, kill the people there, and then come back home as if nothing happened. But you, dear internet dweller, believe that if you slaughtered a bunch of your liberal political adversaries, you'd be just fine. My friend, you're a psychopath. If you think that that's reasonable, something's wrong with you. I'm just saying. I mean, people who are trained to do this can't even walk off taking another human's life. But you dear internet dweller who, nigga, you can't even walk 2 blocks back to your house, my man. Like I find it laughable. These are the same people. They'll take a cigarette, light it, smoke it, destroy their lungs, destroy their very body of which was granted them by God, with their diet, with their lack of exercise, poison their own mind with propaganda, and then somehow believe that they're righteous. To be fair, maybe that's how you get to that state. I don't know. The point is, look fam, the people that are talking about a civil war, the people who are worried about a civil war, you haven't thought about combat. You haven't thought about blood on your hands. You haven't thought about what chaotic, destructive world that would look like. And to be quite honest with you, if you were any decent human being, the last thing you would ever ask for is the indiscriminate slaughter of your citizenry. Because historically, on both sides, for the most part at least, the Union and the Confederates didn't want to fight each other. That's what's fascinating. That's what's very fascinating about these different historical documents I looked at when I studied the American Civil War, of how saddened both sides were at the fact that they even had to participate in this bloodshed. Yeah, it's fascinating. Again, I don't think most people would agree. And I'm mostly making this video to get you guys to think critically I'm mostly not making this video because I think that there will be an American Civil War. And look, man, I've been wrong before, but I'm fairly certain on this one. But what I do think would happen is that numerous different shootings will be incited. Many more people will die when they don't need to die. And ultimately, it will just cause more stress, more suffering, and more pain. But an actual war, no, that wouldn't happen. Lots of people being killed for nothing, that probably will happen. Because again, most people are, to be quite frank, comfortable. Most people do not wish to soil their hands with blood. Most people are not fond of the idea of having to kill their own citizenry. And most people aren't radicalized to that point. People who spend too much damn time on the internet, however, they are. You know, if anything, we'd probably long have an internet ban before we would ever have an actual civil war. You have to understand the degree of how interconnected society is. From our railroads to our highways to multiple different businesses to commerce to streaming services to, again, the internet that you niggas love so much. The world is a giant interconnected web, right? And to be quite honest with you, when it comes to battling each other here in America, there are no defined sides. It's just people who are bloodthirsty. That's all I really see. I don't see objectives. I don't see desires. I don't see a point to this. It just seems that people just want a reason to go and slaughter their political enemies. And that's all it is. That's all it is. It's not, they're not trying to establish a thing. They just want to destroy something else. And to be honest with you, I think that this type of discussion and rhetoric really will indeed breed more people that are destructive, breed more people who are, I'll say, to be quite frank, evil. Because it takes an evil mind to conclude that instead of trying to help your citizenry, as they are Americans, liberal or not, they're Americans. If you are a ruler, you are to rule over them as well. Most people don't think of power in this manner, that power is wielded for the sake of other people because they have no virtue. Again, I don't argue against liberals because I hate them. I argue with them because I think what they believe will harm them and other people. That's why I wish to stop their dumbass ideas. But killing them is the ultimate form of harming them. So why the fuck would I want to do that? Think. What do you want? What's the point? What's the point in all of this stuff? What's the point in radicalizing? What's the point of trying to attack and fight in a civil war? You make life harder for yourself. All that comfortable stuff that you enjoy is now gone. And now you've killed people. Now you're a murderer. Well, I guess it wouldn't technically be murder because it would be wait a minute, would it be sanctioned? So would the federal government be on the side? You see, the fascinating thing about the way our federal government is designed, right, is that there's multiple different switching and swappings of power constantly due to the fact that we have a president for 4 years and then we have senators for 6 years or so. So it's really hard to determine which regime would rule on top without them taking over the government. And then you would have more of a resistance force against the federal government. And maybe that's how you get your civil war. Is that what you guys are imagining? I don't know. That's just some shit I came up with at the top of my head. I don't really know what y'all niggas want apart from just a license to kill. Like, you guys just apparently just want to be, you just want bloodshed. And I'm not for it. And I think that it's irresponsible. And I think it's ridiculous, honestly, to fearmonger and tell people or incite that you wish to have a civil. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's a bunch of bravado. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. And I think that, honestly, your time is better well spent doing anything but imagining a world or a timeline where you get to go kill people that you're supposed to care about to some degree. But I guess you don't. I guess these people don't get moral consideration because they disagree with you. I wonder if Charlie Kirk would agree with that. Just saying. So that being said, I assume you guys got something out of today's video. I doubt it. But if you did, I don't know, man. Go ahead and click the like button. Yeah, shoot. Go ahead and click the subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.